we're back for our 6th season of teaching the most abysmal amateur home renovators in the entire country how to do basic carpentry, plumbing, and electrical work. And this year, we're focusing on the love, baby. That's because we're bringing the bad builders here to Niagara Falls, where their task will be turning ordinary hotel rooms into sexy honeymoon suites. Oh, yeah. At least, that's the plan. This is Canada's worst handyman. To find the 6th person to be named Canada's worst handyman,
Handyman work is not my strong point.
we put out our annual cross-country call, asking you for nominations. And this season, you sent in more nominations than ever.
My name is Lynette, and I've nominated my husband, Bruce.
My neighbor,
my dad,
my son,
My boyfriend, Jerry, is Canada's worst handyman.
After interviewing 900 people who all needed help,
I honestly, man, I don't understand tools.
we went out and met the 40 who most stuck out like sore thumbs.
This is from hammering my thumb with a hammer every time I make a project.
After those frightening encounters, we narrowed it down to the 5 worst. These 5 are without a doubt all deserving of the embarrassing title, Canada's worst handyman. First, meet a housewife from Pickering, Ontario. Charlene is a literal homewrecker who enjoys tearing things apart and then making her husband fix them again.
I make my husband do a lot.
On behalf of Charlene's husband, her sister, Charmaine, is saying what needs to be said.
I nominated my twin sister, Charlene, as Canada's worst handyman.
Next, we have bachelor and new homeowner, Matt, who has no handyman knowledge whatsoever. At his new home in Ottawa, Matt has a lot of questions.
Does all the water in my house go through this little tube? Hey?
But no answers. Matt was nominated by Corey, his buddy.
When it comes to handiwork, Matt is a up.
Businessman and landlord, Ajay, likes to save money by working fast.
This is gonna take 5 minutes.
5 minutes. 5-minute job. Fastly put in. See how good it looks now? Done. Done. Done.
Ajay was nominated as Canada's worst handyman by Prabjot, his tired wife.
I have to do many of his jobs.
From Cambridge, Ontario, new dad, Dan, has handyman anger issues. Dan is being brought to rehab by Natasha, his stressed-out wife.
If I had known how bad of a handyman Dan was, we probably wouldn't have bought a fixer-upper.
And finally, from Dunchurch, Ontario, we have Rob, a professional insulation installer who hurts himself regularly.
A good handyman should be able to take pain.
Rob's common-law spouse, Joanne, isn't laughing.
This is not just an act. This is not just Rob being goofy. This is Rob, like he will hurt himself.
The candidates for Canada's worst handyman know that they're headed to meet their nominators in our rehab center. But they don't know that inside this Niagara Falls hotel...
Ow! Stop out! Come on!
Turn off!
They will each be transforming a regular hotel room into a honeymoon suite. Aside from helping us determine who is Canada's worst handyman,
None of this makes sense.
this year's honeymoon suite transformations will let us know
Oops, I did it again.
which do-it-yourself projects bring the love
Handyman rehab does work!
and which projects
We got blood.
bring the pain.
Whoa, hang in there, hang in there. Welcome, everyone, to the Handyman Rehabilitation Center.
Thank you.
This year, we're going to turn ordinary hotel rooms into honeymoon suites.
Room keys are being provided to all the bad handymen. But even so,
I'll ask you to get inside your rooms as safely as possible, all right? Safely. Your rooms await around the corner, everyone. Good luck, and welcome to rehab.
the keys we gave everyone do work on the doorknobs, but
Abracadabra. Oh, no.
the doors are also barred from the inside.
You're gonna have to use the bolt cutter.
To break in, Charlene tries using a wrench. Then she experiments with a wood saw, and then she has another idea.
Oh, I know, screwdriver.
The screwdriver doesn't work either. Inside her suburban home, Charlene has a lot of ideas that don't work.
I'm already getting bored of this project, actually. I know I can't do it.
When Charlene gives up, she makes Dave, her husband, do the work for her.
I made my husband, in this room, change all the molding on top of the ceiling. I made my husband install pegboards for my belts. I made my husband change the windows.
And she's going to make him
I'm gonna make my husband change the bathroom door, take out that wall, put in new ceiling tile. I'm gonna make my husband take this sink out, take this toilet out. I'm gonna make my husband rip out the floors, replace that fireplace, renovate the kitchen. I'm making my husband turn this basement into a rock and roll diner. That's it. And then he'll have free time.
free time is something Dave hasn't had in years.
Hi, Charlene.
Hi.
What happened to the handrail?
I don't know.
You know how many projects we have on the go?
Yeah, I know.
This is it. I have to go to work to relax.
I need skills.
Back at the rehab center, the lockout continues.
No. I'll never be able to cut that.
I have no idea, man. This is ridiculous.
While Dan is getting nowhere with his hacksaw.
Nope, that's not gonna work.
And Ajay is fumbling with a pry bar.
You want me to do it?
No.
Rob is also reminding us why we call our show Canada's Worst Handyman. When we come back, the Canada's Worst Handyman nominees learn what this season has in store for them.
Yay! What do we got?
Sexy.
Oh my God!
This Niagara Falls hotel contains Canada's worst handymen because we've turned it into our rehabilitation center.
Oh, well, it's locked.
Here, their task is to each turn a regular hotel room into a honeymoon suite. But so far, no one's managed to safely enter their room.
Careful, Rob, he's in it safely.
In northern Ontario, at his lakeshore home, Rob is never safe. In fact,
This scar here is from the metal roof.
Rob is the most injured handyman we've ever encountered.
I've fractured my wrist. I've broken my toe. I've broken my leg.
Almost lost your foot.
Almost lost my foot.
To pull off that grisly feat, Rob got one rope looped around his own ankle and his truck wheel.
And when I drove off, the rope basically just spun around and burned it right down to the muscle.
Not surprisingly, Rob's house is a giant safety hazard.
There's no ceiling.
There's also no trim. On top of that, the floor is chipping away.
And this stuff is sharp.
The bathroom needs to be flushed,
I hate this bathroom.
and the unfinished electrical panel is in the master bedroom.
Nothing's marked. Okay, so that's kind of scary. And then there's wires sticking out here. I have no idea what that is.
Don't touch it, it's live.
Back at the rehab center, Rob is trying to violently break the lock, while Ajay is trying to make his reciprocating saw work.
How did he do that?
Matt was able to do that
That's awesome.
because his friend Corey has been explaining how the saw works. Inside his newly purchased first home, Matt doesn't know how anything works.
It doesn't work.
He tries the simplest things, calls me up right away.
No, see, right there. That's what I hate hearing. Simplest. I hate it when people say that.
Well, you call me about the simplest things all the time.
Like how to fix a loose hinge.
I've tried to repair it a bunch of times. I've put way more holes in the damn thing than I should, and now it's like that. I do not have the skills to fix that. It's brutal, I know.
Play with the adjustment, which are the other two screws on that
I'm
latch
supposed
itself.
to know there's an adjustment.
Well, I looked at it.
The hinge has 2 screws on its body. When Matt simply turns them, his door actually closes.
Look at that! Holy!
Amazing. Wasn't that simple?
Back at the rehab center, Matt becomes the first person to enter his room.
Wow.
Sweet!
The next person to enter is Rob,
There! Woohoo!
and Ajay is almost in. In Strathmore, Alberta, Ajay owns
2 rental houses, 1 house with the mortgage, and 2 shops. I am the only one to fix all this thing.
When fixing things in his donaire shop, Ajay isn't concerned with quality.
There's too many people walking here.
He's concerned with cost.
He always go for, cheaper deals.
$3 for this job, not bad.
Ajay's determination to save money is so strong.
Okay, done.
He's not afraid of anything.
It's done.
He did the electrical thing. That was not good.
It's a common sense, man. You can do it. Anyone can do it. This voltage need 120. This gives 220. So when it comes 220 from here up to here, then it becomes 120 here.
This connection could get hotter than the stove. In rehab,
Yay!
Ajay makes it into his room, and so does Charlene. Which means Dan is the only person still in progress.
No way.
Seemed to go okay for everyone else. It did seem to go pretty well for everyone else.
At his newly purchased fixer-upper,
The frame is still, as you see, a work in progress.
everything's a work in progress.
The phone jack. Basically, the entire house is one big construction area.
Dan's basic problem is that he gets so frustrated by handiwork, he quits jobs before they're done.
Since I've been working on the bathroom, 3 houses just down the street have been built.
Oh!
Dan hates handiwork. He hates it, and he wouldn't do it if he didn't have to. He reverts to this caveman, raw.
Scoot along with the little one.
Daddy smash.
Daddy smash. What the f? No!
I didn't know that he had that side of him until we got this house.
All right, give up. Said I give up. That's enough of this bull for now.
Back at the rehab center,
You could just Dan smash.
Dan's lock is finally smashed,
Yay!
and Dan's first project is finally exposed.
The enclosed kit will turn your ordinary mattress into a vibrating mattress.
Oh my
High five.
God.
High five.
What is this? Is this a vibrating bed? No.
Yes! We want to see if the Canada's Worst Handyman nominees can follow simple assembly instructions.
I don't understand what that means.
The instructions clearly show how to strap the small motor to the side of the box spring.
Okay, put down.
Matt follows the instructions correctly, and the mattress quietly vibrates.
Oh my God, this thing actually works.
Matt's rehabilitation has begun.
It's awesome.
Ajay's vibrating motor
Why it's making too much noise?
is incorrectly underneath his box spring.
It's not supposed to make this much noise. This is vibrating bad, but not for sleep.
Ajay didn't follow the instructions.
It's supposed to be so easy. Why it is not working like that?
Charlene is also not following the instructions.
Yeah, you're not even close to correct.
I knew it. Why? The motor's underneath, right?
Without her husband's help, Charlene is lost.
Instructions are there, drawing and writing, but I still don't understand it.
I don't understand Rob.
What is that blood on the back of your hand?
Oh, probably from trying to get in the door.
Injury-prone Rob does get his bed to vibrate. But in the process, he hurts himself.
Ow.
You hurt yourself already?
Yeah, I twisted my knee.
Down the hall, Dan follows the instructions and has success.
Got the timer set up and everything.
When Dan's not angry, he's fine.
You can't have one at home.
Why not?
No.
Why not?
No.
Why not?
When we come back,
I'm having a brain fart.
Canada's worst handymen are challenged to build a heart-shaped box.
What did you do?
If you were asked to turn a sheet of plywood into a heart-shaped box, would you be able to do it? Or would just even thinking about it make you want to run away screaming?
Before we see how Canada's worst handymen build a heart-shaped box, let's meet our experts. Jeff Woodmansey has run a general contracting company for 28 years. Gail Prosser-Craig has been running a home restoration company for 6 years. Throughout rehab,
All right, welcome to electrical class.
the bad handymen will learn from our experts.
This is an ABS 90.
And our experts will tackle every project the bad handymen tackle, starting with making a heart-shaped box. Gail begins by tracing 6 hearts onto her plywood.
Now I use my jigsaw to cut out the hearts.
Gail will keep the first 2 hearts for the top and the bottom of her box, but the rest she'll hand over to Jeff so he can remove their centers.
When all the pieces are cut, apply wood glue and stack all the pieces on top of the base. And apply pressure.
When the clamps are on, wipe off any excess glue with a damp cloth.
For the lid, I'm gluing a small heart on the top piece. If you don't have clamps, anything heavy will apply enough pressure to create a strong bond. And that's it. Tomorrow, when the glue is dry, a quick sanding and staining will result in this. A heart-shaped box.
Canada's worst handymen made their heart-shaped boxes in their own homes before coming to rehab.
Okay, so.
To start
with drawing the heart.
Dan draws a lopsided heart.
Maybe a small box.
Charlene draws a broken heart. And Matt is sawing without drawing.
I need a pencil just to draw a heart, right?
We asked the handymen to use their own tools for this challenge, and Matt is using a handsaw designed for cutting 2x4s.
This is the only saw I own.
To give Matt a fighting chance, we've brought extra saws, and so has Corey. But they scare Matt.
This is not a good idea at all.
So now, he's trying to cut the plywood with his hammer.
Yeah, that's not going anywhere, eh?
Dan owns a jigsaw, but its dull blade is burning the wood.
Okay, yeah, you know what? That much smoke can't be good.
Dan's getting frustrated. And Ajay's getting the award for the biggest box.
Hold it. Hold it.
Ajay has screwed this project up. No doubt about it.
It's a little bit out.
Even so, Ajay says he's...
Done. It's a box.
It's not a box. It's a complete failure.
You agree?
Yes, madam.
In the name of good taste, Rob is using glue on his box, as well as using screws.
Heart-shaped box.
Well?
My ass.
Rob's aggressive work is foolhardy, and he's about to pay the price for it.
Oh, you okay?
On this project, Rob has cut corners, and he's cut himself. And he really doesn't care.
I totally don't love it.
Rob's box would look better as smoke.
There's no way to make this pretty.
No, but...
It'll be pretty in the wood stove.
When Matt gets the walls of his heart glued and then nailed permanently together, it's clear Matt has no concept of how to pull this project off. Matt's finished product is unlovable.
I don't even think a parent would keep this if their kid made it for them.
For many do-it-yourselfers, hammering is cathartic.
Oh, you son of a... hate hammering.
But for Dan,
me,
hammering is a lead-up to anger.
Sorry.
Dan's heart-shaped box is certainly lacking.
A lack of skill kind of makes it hard for me to get anything done.
The last person working is glitzy Charlene.
I'm not very good at handiwork, so if I blind you with the jewels, you won't notice.
Charlene never had a clear goal in mind.
This is typical of me. I'll start a project and I'll change it.
When we come back,
Table will be done in 5 minutes.
Canada's worst handymen make work tables.
That's awesome, eh?
You measured that one first?
I think so.
handyman needs a workbench, but a honeymoon suite needs a massage table. So the next challenge for Canada's worst handyman is to make a workbench that can be turned into a massage table. It sounds impossible, but it's not.
Our expert Jeff will show you how it's done using this plywood as his table's surface.
All I have to do now, build the frame and sit it on top.
For the frame, Jeff uses good old spruce 2x4s that he cuts on a compound sliding miter saw. Then he joins the frame together using 3-inch wood screws. 2-inch wood screws hold the plywood work surface to the frame. Next, Jeff cuts 8 pieces for legs. He wants 8 pieces because he knows the 4 legs he needs will be stronger
if you screw them together like this.
When the legs go on the inside of the frame, Jeff installs pieces called stretchers, then a snug-fitting bottom shelf, and finally, brackets that get screwed from the legs to the tabletop.
So that's the final bracket installed.
Jeff's table took less than an hour to build.
In the final episode, we're going to show you how to turn this into a massage table.
We're letting Canada's worst handymen inspect our work table.
That's 3 feet.
3 feet?
So they can get design ideas.
I can't measure at all.
When Charlene gets her measurements, she cuts her pieces.
That's so crooked.
Then wants to use glue?
What do you need glue for? To make it stronger. Because what if the stupid screws fall out?
Rob has mismeasured.
Well, I didn't do the cutting.
And Matt believes he's doing
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Awesome. That's awesome, eh?
You measured that one first?
I think so.
across the hall. Dan is methodically stripping his screws. Meanwhile,
Prabjot!
Ajay wants his wife, Prabjot,
Prabjot!
to help him operate the table saw.
Now what?
Now, Ajay should be asking for expert help, but...
Put it on.
He's relying on Prabjot's help.
Okay.
Please, never attempt this kind of dangerous cutting at home. Down the hall, ow, Rob is about to draw first blood.
Ow!
Are you okay?
Yeah, it got me.
And it will soon get Rob again.
You okay?
Yeah.
There's a rule of thumb to remember whenever Rob gets hurt. The rule is, stay away or you'll be hurt next.
Ow, Rob!
You okay? You okay?
After all this, it's Rob who needs first aid.
You really did a number on your finger here, Rob.
It's okay.
Wow.
I drew blood for my workbench.
Ajay's table needs its top, but
Got this part.
his top doesn't fit.
Got it wrong.
That's a $21 error. But
Here we go.
when Ajay's new sheet of plywood
Here we go.
gets screwed in place,
Here we go.
Ajay's shortcomings reveal even more expensive mistakes.
Okay. This will be a hole here. So I'm gonna be here.
Yeah. And what about your this portion?
Ajay has only 75% of a massage table built.
Pass 99%.
Pass 65.
85, make it.
72.
78.
74.
75, deal done.
Okay.
Matt is loving the power tools.
This is awesome, man.
And he's loving his workbench.
Looks awesome. Awesome. It's awesome. Isn't this awesome? Come on. This is awesome. You want to buy this.
I'd want to buy something more solid than this.
Now you'll do the jump test. 1, 2, 3, jump.
Matt's table is an awesome failure.
You know what? That really is really disappointing. I honestly thought I nailed this.
Dan's workbench is the width of a full sheet of plywood.
It's a huge effing massage table.
And Dan's lower shelf
Okay, so now that one.
is being installed at floor level.
If you are working here, your feet are gonna hit that every time.
For all its flaws, though, Dan's table has some rehab center bragging rights.
That's the most solid one in here, sir.
All right.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Dan's rehab has begun.
It's good to actually complete something and feel proud of it.
Charlene has been screwing her frame together for so long, she's lost interest in cutting a top for it. Her new plan? Finding a piece of scrap wood that magically fits.
Which one, Sherman?
Shalene, just bring
This
it
is
in.
like 4 feet, actually. So it'll be 2 feet short, so.
So it's useless. But Charlene wants to try anyway.
Oh, it's too short, right?
Yeah. A few screws later, Charlene says she's done.
It's
Oh, it
done.
has no middle supports.
Should I jump on your table like I've jumped on everybody else's?
if you want to die, you can.
So, that's a fail.
It's not a workbench. It's just a frame.
After the break, the Canada's Worst Handyman nominees demolish a bathroom.
That was dangerous.
A Niagara Falls hotel is the site of this year's Handyman Rehabilitation Center. In here, the nation's lousiest amateur builders will spend 16 days each turning a regular room into a honeymoon suite. But
Once an episode on Canada's Worst Handyman, the nominees will work together on one communal project. And this year, they'll be turning this dingy, ugly space into a luxurious spa. At least, that's the plan. Y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
turning this place into a spa will take 7 group challenges.
Where? Here?
The nominees will create a living wall and an eco fireplace.
So nice.
They'll also make a sauna, lay a floor, and try not to get fried in the process. Building something so relaxing
Where's the roof?
will cause a lot of stress.
We have the stuff to cover it. Why you're worrying?
But in the end, it will all be worth it.
And before any of that happens, you're gonna have to do some serious demolition. Nice. Okay? Here's a layout of this room right here. This is what we're in, okay? You're gonna have to completely rip out this part of this wall. It's gonna go away. This is also going to go away. That's going to give you a much bigger space.
Do we get a sledgehammer?
You sure do. All the tools you need are behind you there.
The tools include crowbars, scrapers, and pry bars. But we can't supply common sense.
Something happened here. That's not a good way. That's not a good way.
With a crew of 5, this demolition shouldn't take more than an hour.
An hour later, the leaderless crew is at risk of demolishing themselves.
Awesome.
Matt doesn't know that Ajay is on the other side of this wall.
That's pretty awesome. This is awesome. I gotta get one of these at home.
It's so important to keep your demolition controlled. Over 80,000 people hurt themselves last year and lost time from work trying to renovate their home.
When the drywall is beaten from the studs, Ajay tries to remove the studs. But this job should not be attempted with a sledgehammer. How many useless strokes will it take for Ajay to learn this lesson? Well, a lot of them. Ajay wails on this stud for 26 hits.
You go ahead.
Then, for good measure, Dan hits it 25 times. And then Ajay has one more pointless crack at it. To remove studs properly during demolition,
Cut the studs and just leave them out of position.
a reciprocating saw works best for that job. So far, there has been zero demolishing done by our only female, Charlene.
There's 4 guys in the room. I can destroy it.
No. You're getting over this man-slave idea. You're gonna get in there, and you're gonna become a handy person, right?
I convinced Charlene to cut one stud.
A miracle.
And then she goes back to cleaning. When the toilet is removed from its plumbing, the next step should be shutting off this open valve. That doesn't happen, which means there could be a geyser when the water pressure is turned back on again later. Cutting the sink plumbing is next. To make sure it doesn't spray everywhere when the pressure is reinstated, capping it has to be the next task, which is confusing for Matt.
Because I don't even know what you mean by capping it.
Copper pipes can be fitted with copper caps that will permanently stop the flow of water.
How do you guys know how to do this?
Dwayne's son's plumber.
When all the plumbing is capped, the demolition is done. The only thing left to do is to check for leaks by turning on the water.
I'm gonna on the water now.
The toilet hookup never did get closed off.
I'll meet you in the lobby. Someone will be named the worst for this episode.
When we come back, Canada's worst handymen come face to face with our experts.
You totally destroyed your door.
Before we name the worst builder in this episode, the nominees for Canada's worst handyman, starting with Charlene, we'll meet our experts and explain why they came to rehab.
Because I need help. I guess I do need help.
During this episode, Charlene made a topless workbench.
I mean, if I tried, I could really snap this in two.
Yeah.
Her vibrating bed isn't set up correctly. And in the group challenge, Charlene spent her time cleaning up.
You sat back a lot, get in there and try it. It's not a strength issue and it's not a gender issue. This is something you can absolutely do.
Good. Thanks.
Next, the experts meet Dan.
I came to rehab to learn. I don't have a whole lot of skills, and I wanted to learn how to do everything so I could fix up my house.
Dan's workbench is almost the size of a house. And instead of building a bottom shelf,
you built a subfloor.
Yeah.
Rob built a good work table, but he cut himself in the process.
I am here because I tend to hurt myself a lot.
And Rob hurts a lot of materials.
You totally destroyed your door. That door is a write-off. Think first before you act.
1, 2, 3, jump. Hey!
Matt broke his workbench, but he took an extra 10 minutes and fixed it. Learning to fix things is why Matt came to rehab.
I bought a house in the summer, and I don't really know, well, I don't know how to do a lot of the things I want to do in it.
There's opportunities here where you're going to be able to do stuff. You'll be able to do it in a safe environment. You're going to challenge yourself, and you're going to move ahead.
Ajay came to rehab because he has a
Need to learn stuff to save money. It costs too much with the professionals.
All about the cash, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's all about the cash.
It's time to decide this episode's worst handyman.
So let's jump right to it. We got to name the worst for this episode.
I got Charlene, worst.
Unfocused Charlene
Hurry up.
is definitely the slowest person in rehab.
Gail, who do you have as the worst?
Rob. He's a hazard to himself.
Injury-prone Rob
Careful, Rob, he's not safely.
is definitely the most dangerous person in rehab.
Ow, Rob!
Okay. Yeah, but who had the best table? Who had the best table?
Well, he did.
He did, right? He's shown us that he can do handyman work. Charlene, the worst, because she can't do handyman work.
So what's worse, being slow or being dangerous? While the handymen await their fate, the folks who nominated them get to watch the final ceremony from their lounge.
Well, we've reached the end of our first episode here on Canada's Worst Handyman, Season 6, which means it's time for me to name the most improved handyman here and the worst. The most improved handyman here will get this golden hard hat, which comes with an added responsibility of being the foreman in our next group challenge.
I am the most improved for this episode.
And the most improved handyman here in this, our first episode, is Matt. You know it is, sir.
All right.
Congratulations. Next time there's a group challenge, and there will be one next episode in the spa, this will be your team.
Awesome. I'm kicking ass and taking names.
Now it's my sad duty to inform you who is the worst. Today's worst handyman is...
Oh my God, Rob.
You, sir, have one duty left, and that's to pull your picture down and go hang your head in shame. There we go.
Rob was named the worst this episode
You okay?
because he hurt himself. Ow. And he really didn't care.
You okay?
Yeah. If I'm working on something that's going to be more than 20 minutes to half an hour, blood is usually involved.
You can get this picture up there without cutting yourself, yeah?
I think so.
As Rob hangs his head in shame, the others disperse, leaving Rob to do one final project.
In your room.
Okay.
Okay.
And that final project is to make a sign that says,
Days without injury. The little number thing we can change.
Okay.
We're hoping that by acknowledging exactly how dangerous he is, Rob will become safer.
Is there a part of you that hasn't been injured?
No.
No? Have you hurt your feet?
Yes, I have.
Have you hurt your legs between your feet and your knees?
Yes, I have.
Between your knees and your hips?
Well, stitches.
Between your hips and your armpits, what have you done to yourself?
I've broken my ribs.
Head injury?
I've gotten stitches to the head quite a few times. The worst one was getting swarmed by bees.
On the next episode of Canada's Worst Handyman. The nominees make frames for their heart-shaped tubs, which must be exactly to size.
How did this happen?
I'm not a bad handyman.
They each make a soundproof headboard for their beds.
Right. Oh, mather.
And
Shocker.
They try to attach mirrors to the ceilings
Ajay!
of their honeymoon suites.
Oh,